Well, once again, evening and welcome to Gaming Under the Influence. I'm Mike, here with Alex, coming to you under the Green Dragon brand to talk to you about
fucking video games
yes.
Every fucking
Our
week,
one and only
dude.
preoccupation, except for the fucking intoxicating substances that help us enjoy them. What are you thinking there?
I
Just
have
to reiterate again,
a Great Lakes blonde lager, which I've actually been drinking the last 3 or 4 weeks in a row that we've been doing this.
true, yeah, you picked up a few of those, eh?
But just been in the mood for a kind of a go-to lager.
Yeah.
So this is just
crackery sort of beer, man.
It's been satisfying me. What do you got there?
I got a fucking Roman Candle IPA from Bellwoods Brewery in Toronto, Ontario. It's super fresh. It was actually canned on the 6th, which is like a few days ago. I received it actually on that day, and
wow,
man, the difference between even a week old and a month old IPA is staggering.
Totally different. Eh?
All of the fucking flavors that make an IPA really like astounding, that make it like, whoa, it's really good. Like all of those flavors, it feels like after a month, you just crank the volume down to like 5,
Yeah, right? It just it's kind of just fades and dissipates
really
the
sad.
taste,
That's
right?
why I go to the LCBO sometimes. I'm like, oh, this is a fucking sick looking IPA. I'm going to buy that IPA. And then you look at the can, it's like 4 months old.
Yeah.
No, it's not happening.
No.
You might as well make bread out of it, actual bread.
The
like,
fucked up thing is there have been times where I've bought cans and not checked the date that it was made, and then not have let it sit in my fridge for like another 2 months. You're just making it worse, right?
Yeah, sure.
But
I mean, sometimes it's still drinkable. It's just the IPA flavors are gone after 4 weeks.
It's like a best before kind of thing. You really gotta take it in before.
It's like pasteurized milk in the best case scenario. Just the nature of those, like especially the kind of IPAs we drink nowadays. Maybe not like IPA like in the classical sense, like Alexander Keith's, like whatever, a little bit of hop in the beer, but like fucking hoppy IPAs, the milky, greasy, like the pine and the fucking
those
fruit,
twice as mad Tom's double IPA.
All those flavors, man, the alpha acids, the esters, the phenols, all the shit in that makes the beer taste that way, it just dissipates. And any kind of fucking, for every 10 degrees over 0, the process is doubled in speed as well. So that's another thing to keep in mind. If we're fucking in, if we're in Venezuela where my wife's from there, you're not drinking no fucking IPAs.
Oh, fuck yeah.
In a month, keeping it in your humid basement.
Yeah, not
at
happening.
40 degrees or something.
Not gonna happen.
Yeah, so shit, without further ado, I guess we're gonna get into the fucking subject matter of today's episode, which, I've been playing a lot of Disco Elysium. If you guys have been following our channel, you probably have seen the footage. And man, it is an incredible game. It's a fucking incredible game. Constantly, I'm astounded. I'm tired. It's 11 o'clock. I don't feel like fucking playing tonight. Then I go and I start playing and I just forget who I am entirely because the subject matter of this game is so fucking engaging, bro. Everything that's going on all the time, there's fascinating stuff. It takes place in this little corner of the world, There's this city called Revachol that the game takes place in.
Yeah.
And you play the whole plot within this tiny little district of Revachol called Martinez, I think it's called. And fuck, man, it feels like just walking around this tiny little zone that you're just fucking engaged in an entire universe. It's really, really, really nuts. And it's almost like an alternate historical reality, but just fantastical enough to really fucking captivate you in all the right fucking places, I recently encountered this fucking concept of the Pale in the game, which really hammers home, like we talked fucking last week about how this game depicts this Zizekian concept of being as fractured, always got this cleft in it related to something outside of itself, and in this game, it's not like there's a globe, like an Earth, like a sphere, like our world, where islands exist in the ocean and shit. There's literally a world. But between the islands of land and shit, there's this thing called the Pale. It's literally nothing. It's just non-being, essentially,
Right.
Just non-determination, always expanding, and people are trying to cross it, but they go mad when they go through it and they censor themselves. And people postulate what it is and they're not really sure. It's fucking encroaching on Elysium, which we talked about in the past,
Oh, many times, yeah, I bet.
And the Pale, I think, is really the true nature of reality, right? And it's fucking Harry's descent into fucking self-abnegating, alcoholic, fucking amphetamine-induced fucking amnesia that really brings him into contact with that,
How much of that is player choice, or does it sort of take on that as the story goes on? Because then you have the choice to do drugs and drink.
There's a lot of player choices,
stuff, right?
But the thing with the choices is the universe is such that your choices mean dick and fuck. Like you can choose to do this, and maybe like morally it'll be good from your perspective. But the world goes on, right? Like that's, there's this sense that being is cut. You know what I mean? Like exactly like the world in Disco Elysium. Like we can build these fucking maps and fucking schemes and like, you know, this picture of the modern world and try to fucking master and perfect it, but like being always escapes our grasp. So there's irreducible excess that from our perspective looks like the pale, like nothing, right? It's horrifying, you know, and it drives fucking people like Harry here, who I think like the game suggests that his whole episode is induced by his acquaintance with these things and his ruined love life that results from his existential thoughts and shit, you know? And Harry fucking touches the pale. That's what the ancient reptilian brain tells you, right? That's what he's looking for in his just fucking crazy episode at the very beginning. And that's what I'd like really to talk about today. You know, if there's nothing else you'd like to say about your fucking adventures in gaming this week.
In last week, I've spent a little bit of time, actually, now that I think of it, a little bit of time in Final Fantasy X and 15 as well.
Oh, yeah, 15.
15, I've been just chugging away, gaining fucking just a ton of XP. I'm at like 34 or 5,000, and I haven't cashed them in yet. So I'm looking to do a nice big fucking just cash in of XP, right? And just take me from level 22 to like hopefully 40 or some shit, right? But I'll update you on that as it comes to fruition, right? Aside from that, if for some reason I wanted to boot up Final Fantasy X because, you know, you can never go wrong with that game, and it's kind of on like my bucket list, so I wouldn't mind
that's the one
getting through it.
That's the one to play.
Yeah, like I can't believe I haven't fucking finished it ever in my life. Like what the fuck? Yeah, like so that's what I mean. Like, it's the games are so long. Even like old games like all the Final Fantasies, they take time, right? You can't just
you need to be obsessive in your fucking pursuits in life.
It's true. Like when you think
lackadaisical attitudes get you nowhere. You know?
Yeah, like when you think of all the games you've crushed, like beaten in like a fucking like 3 days or like a week or something, like. Did it not like consume almost every aspect of your life? Like it was almost like an addiction, right? I remember playing like Final Fantasy VII Remake.
Are the ones that really keep you up inside like a worm, you know?
Yeah, it's nuts. But I mean, fuck, that's what it takes, right?
Intoxicate you, in other words.
Yeah, in other words, yeah. How fitting for what we are planning to speak about today.
Yeah, that's really what I want to talk about. I thought it, you know, especially in the context of Disco Elysium, it's fitting because. This motif of intoxication has been explored fucking pretty widely in video games, I would say. There's a lot of games that I think back on, I'm like, yeah, that was a fun fucking quest where I got wasted with the boys, and it was sick, but like, that's not necessarily what I'm talking about when I say intoxication, you know? I'm talking about like this fucking, I don't know if you ever read Dune before, but like in Dune, there's this shit called spice, you know?
Yeah.
Spice melange, you know, South Park fucking fucks around with that concept anyways, but spice is this shit that you mine on this one planet, and when people eat it, it's a drug essentially that fucking gives them clairvoyancy essentially. They can see into the future and perceive metaphysical realities, you know?
Okay.
I got this fucking whole like laid out quote at the fucking beginning of the article on the site there where Paul Modib, the fucking protagonist there.
Our site?
Yeah, our site, yeah.
Which is?
GreenDragonCVR.com/fucking store. Buy a fucking subscription to this, by the way. But, you know, Paul Modib, he's fucking like, yeah, man, I had a bunch of spice. You know, I ate a shit ton of spice, and it feels like my spirit slipped over into the realm of forms, is what he's saying in essence. Of course, right? You know, fucking a lost sense of where I am. It's fucking enlightening, but at the same time, I am not myself anymore. Right? And that's essentially what intoxication means, right? Like, we don't mean drunkenness. What we mean in this case is a chemically induced fucking... what's the fucking... This is important for me to actually find. I actually...
Mike's on a quest now.
Now
he's gonna find it.
Now I can't, yeah. Now I can't fucking leave that alone. Yeah. Intoxication refers to a fucking half-death and resurrection induced by chemical substances, and not just in order to fucking have a great time, man. It's in order to fucking attain some metaphysical insight by kind of stripping away the normal ways in which you look at the world.
Right, right.
That's what intoxication means, right?
Putting a nice filter over your eyes and your mouth and your ears and everything.
You're not like fucking Buddy from American Pie looking to just have a good time and get laid, right? Like the point is that you're going to obliterate your personality to fucking see what's left after that shit, you know? See the world as it is.
Get a little more raw, right?
Yeah, man. And, you know, I was thinking back on this. There's so many great fucking instances of intoxication in games. Games make it fucking possible for you to explore that like in the first person, you know?
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
And the ways that games depicted it it's always interesting to me. Like, of course, you got your fucking common, you know, like you have a beer and like the screens like swing a little bit and shit like that. But sometimes, you know.
I was gonna say, one of the early games I remember, like in Saints Row on the Xbox 360, you could go to the store and buy, you know, joints or hit bongs, and then like you said, the screen would just kind of go waving. It was like, oh, this is cool, but like that was like the end of it, right?
I mean,
and then
it's not really, you know,
we've sort of seen it more explored. I think even I can't think of like so much in the past, but this past generation alone, like in the 8th gen with the Red Dead and the other examples you brought up before, it's kind of
thing actually
come up more now, right?
It definitely has. A company that apparently is just super into this shit is Ubisoft, man. So many Ubisoft games.
Yeah,
they're like, you're gonna fucking get
Vision Quest,
go on a Vision
right?
Quest.
Yeah.
So many Ubisoft games. Actually, all the Far Cry games I played, which is always I always played like Far Cry 3 plus. I never played the early ones. Apologize for my lack of gaming credentials there.
I played 1 and 2, but not enough to say even anything about them. And I did play a little bit of 3, and I vaguely remember that. Some sort of Vision Quest or something.
Far Cry 3 was loaded with those
being
instances, and at the end you could choose to like go native, quote unquote, you know, and like side with the fucking crazy like pagan priestess there, and I think she sacrifices you to whatever god you worship. It's pretty intense. But even in those, there's this like fucking case that, you know, you landing in this fucking foreign place, you know, you're beset by like fucking strange powers and people that are hostile to you. Like, it's, you take these fucking multiple instances in the game via chemical fucking intervention, you're able to see things closer to how they actually are. Like in all of the Far Cry games, it's a fucking
even like 5 and shit. 5 has
even
that?
In 5, definitely, yeah.
Because that kind of makes me want to play it more.
Play a huge role in 5. Like,
okay.
In fact, in this one, it's that one of the seed siblings, like they all have, like there's these 3 siblings in this clan of people that control the area you're in, and one of them, like her whole thing is just fucking drugs people, and you fight her in like this hallucinogenic state where she's floating around and shooting shit at you. But in Far Cry Primal, like you build a hut for your vision priest, I don't know, and you go there and you drink this brew that he gives you numerous times in the game, and you go on these vision quests where you're like shooting flaming bears out of the sky and shit. But
fuck, dude,
like in this case, it doesn't deserve too much attention because it's almost like too explicit for me to even say how much it affirms what I'm saying, right? Like here, the substance is treated in this Eucharistic sense. It's almost like this way you chemically like fucking reject your social and individual personhood and commune with some higher plane of being, right? Like that in Far Cry games, that fucking every single Far Cry game has that.
That's fucked up.
Yeah. Assassin's Creed Valhalla also has this, by the way, you know, where you build Velka's hut in your fucking Viking settlement. I need to go back to this game. I really do like it. And you fucking drink whatever the shit mushroom brew that she brews for you. I think it's psilocybin. I think there's some shit about how Vikings
probably mushrooms. Yeah.
And then went to fight fuckers. That sounds intense. That sounds like that must have been a party.
A party.
No wonder they fuck people up, you know?
Yeah, right.
But yeah, you go and like the whole premise of Valhalla, you know, a bit of spoilers here, being that your character and numerous other people in your fucking, even your tribe and shit, are like almost these genetic repetitions, like these reincarnations of like the Nordic gods, those themselves being like repetitions of like these archetypal forms, right? Like the idea being that like when your character consumes this fucking mushroom brew, he's able to see himself and other things in this universal sense. You know, you access this like hidden layer of knowledge via your fucking chemical intervention, right? Like that's essentially what we mean by intoxication in the sense. So in Far Cry, like it's almost, there's so many awesome cases of that, man. I love Primal, especially going into the hut there. They're like talking in this reconstructed caveman language in ancient Indo-European. And the guy hands you this bowl of gruel and your guy's like drinking it and you trip out and go nuts. It's crazy. It's really cool.
That sounds so cool, man. It makes me want to play Primal.
You should. It's amazing.
And 5,
that's
They're
sick. All incredible games. And they feature like great depictions of intoxication in this sense. You know, they really are attuned to that trope in the way that I'm talking about.
That's interesting enough coming from Ubisoft, but I mean, it's...
Yeah, it is, right?
It's been for years, if it's been in all of the, Far Cry's from 3 to 4 or 5, whatever. Primal.
Yeah, they always
that's
fucked around with that. It's pretty cool. And then, you know, of course, we have Disco Elysium, where that's like the main conceit.
Yeah.
Right? That all of the characters in the world are talking about this. Like, they're hopeless, so they just fucking obliterate themselves with substances. You know, that's... In this game, it's like... The sense is that all of the fucking shit we layer on top of like primordial ancient reptilian nothingness is like an artificial construct, and like the act of imbibing, like of drinking and fucking taking amphetamines is like just shedding that. And you're like, yeah, fuck it, bro, like dance our way into the apocalypse, you know, like just fucking getting wasted. That's what's going on in Disco Elysium. So
that's fucked.
It's a more cynical interpretation of the trope, but still it holds. Like, still it holds true, right? Instead of you being like a priest of like some higher reality which you access with substances, here you're a priest of some like hopeless fucking plane of nothing that you access with substances. But in either case, like
Disco Elysium is very like everything is dire and like
it is.
Just oh man, I can't think of the proper word, but you know what I mean. Everything's so like, down and like
that's essentially what it's about. How all human civilization is slipping into the pale, into this fucking non-human meaning, you know, and everybody's living under the weight of their fucking failed ideas, right? You have people who are monarchists, they're like, no, the world would be better if just this, and the failed communists, the world would be better if the commune hadn't been invaded by the capitalists, and the people living right now in power who are just ignoring the fact that literally like nothing is encroaching on society, right? So the game is very much about that, and it fucking this trope of like intoxication, you know, here again signifying not merely just being drunk, but chemical intervention to perceive the real, you know?
Yeah, it's funny to say like, and I think Red Dead is a good example of it just being hilarious in general, but like there's more to it, right?
Yeah.
And I don't remember quite what the outcome of was in Red Dead, but
yeah, I mean, it's hard for me to parse that one as an example of what
I think that one was more like masturbatory, because you end up getting fucked in the bar.
Or just like jovial, like fun.
Yeah, even like that, like sort of like an Assassin's Creed
even then
thing,
though, like even if the fucking layer of reality you access is merely, you know, your own personality, like they're just fucking honestly talking with each other and losing their fucking bravado, in a sense that like there's another interesting example there's but like I think even that like loss of social elements is in a sense the same thing. Like fantasy depicts like how we fucking, you know, we take some mushroom brew and we see the gods and shit, but like in real life, like you consuming a substance and fucking losing your sense of your personal self and saying something embarrassing is very much an instance of the same thing, right? Like you lose that, you know, normally you look out of your eyes and you're like, I'm embarrassed. I feel like all of these additions to physical reality, you know?
Yeah, you overthink things and
never mind, just like there's like literally like Pokemon Go, like AR in front of you. Things are not just what they are. That guy is not just a guy. He's a policeman, right? He's not a physical thing. He's got this added meaning. He's a judge. He's a mailman, you know?
Right.
Like there's this layer of meaning that we add to things, you know?
Of course, yeah.
And when you fucking consume substances, never mind in a fantasy world where they depict this process in crazy metaphors, right? Like what happens is that you lose that.
You sort of strip it away. Yeah, you're right.
That's why you act like a fucking fool, like for better or worse, you know? Whether you do something good with that state or something bad. The point is, that's not stopping your thought anymore. You're not like, well, I shouldn't say this because maybe I'll make it myself look bad, or maybe I'll offend this guy, right? Like that layer of meaning's gone. You're just brutally like, you know, looking at the fucking shit, right? And that's the technical term, the shit.
The fucking shit.
Churn.
Yeah, I gotta say, the Red Dead was fucking hilarious. I pissed myself. I playing it both times in 2 playthroughs, just fucking hearing Arthur run through the fucking bar screaming,
dude, honestly, I watched that today. I was trying to think about it again, like how can I bring this up today in some fruitful way, and it's hard for me to say that I can, but I do love that. I love the music in that scene.
Oh yeah, it's all great. Lenny! And they're like, who the hell are you? Get out of here.
Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
But then again, you know, if our fucking trope is that the chemical fucking allows you access to the truth, like to the real with a capital R, then is not fucking Arthur, like aren't him and Lenny are just being what they are at the end, right? Like society has no place.
You know what's fucked too? I was thinking
that's them
just
at their truest selves.
I was thinking
like,
just now how a lot of Red Dead is that whole like this coming of like society where it's almost like, you know, the whole like we're better than this, right? On the whole, like a large like, you know, we don't do outlaws anymore. It's almost like them like trying to like, you know, use chemicals to retreat back into like more animalistic. That's like the whole fucking the whole story of the game, Ragley, right? That fucking, especially in 1, I remember like the first cutscene, they're just talking about society, this and that, and John's like, fuck that.
Yeah.
Like,
We're gonna become noble savages by getting fucked up.
I really like Arthur in fucking Red Dead 2 for a lot of that. Like he recognizes, right? He's the only guy there who kind of like in the gang that sees
Elysium,
he sees what the fuck is happening, right?
The great thing with Arthur is he's not like, he doesn't think that there's another fucking solution. He's not like, yeah, I know the better way. Like, I'm just gonna be a farmer, fucking, you know?
Yeah, right.
Red Dead's not like, yeah, just compromise, it'll be good. Red Dead's like, yeah, you try it, bitch. You know? It's not possible, right? Like, Arthur's fucking...
He sees it coming, but he doesn't have an answer or an end to it, right? Like, he doesn't... Yeah,
That's the point, man. I love that answer.
That's true.
No, the answer is fuck you. There's no answer. Let's fucking... I like that... You know... There's this song that I don't even really enjoy that song that much, called As the Palaces Burn, from a band called Lamb of God.
Lamb of God, yeah.
And I really wish that
I haven't gone down that road in a long time.
They didn't invent that phrase, because I really like that phrase, you know?
Yeah.
Dancing as the palaces fucking burn. Like, that feels like Arthur, maybe he's not dancing, but he's not like John. He's not like sitting down like, fine, I'll fucking get a farm with my whore. Like, you know what I mean? Like, what the fuck?
I can't even get through the epilogue with like,
maybe that's the point of the epilogue, to just fuck. Honestly, I'm sure that is the point of the epilogue, to just
what, the hammer? Yeah, but like,
yeah. And John's just like losing his shit. Like,
obviously,
that's actually, I'm sure, the point.
Obviously, at some point, he breaks out of it. But like for me, because Red Dead is like a forced slow down third-person game, like, you know how it's just so like... and then to add like those tedious like missions in, everything just feels so hard to get through, and it's like, I don't know if I'm willing to do it for Red Dead. Like, I'm right at the end. I need like maybe like a couple hours and I'm done the epilogue.
Shit, I should get through that too. It's worth it.
I just uninstalled it yesterday, so
yeah. Fuck. Look good on PS5. Might be worth a try.
Hey, you know what? I don't think they have like a proper next gen patch in the works though. No. But I'm sure it would run.
Is it on 60 at consoles? Or?
I don't think, unless I'm wrong, I don't think Rockstar mentioned anything about a next gen patch.
Wow, that's a fucking bummer.
Yeah, that's why I remember in the Red Dead subreddit people were bitching because remember when they fucking right before the PS5 came out, they announced that GTA 5 Online was coming to like the PS5 for free or some shit, and then I saw in the Red Dead subreddit the next day they're like, what the fuck, what about us, we want Red Dead on the PS5, we got fuck all, right? Like, I remember dying about that. But yeah, Red Dead's like the sort of like not as good, you know, stepchild. I like Red Dead. I prefer Red Dead to Grand Theft Auto.
Oh yeah.
Nowadays, but
shit, you know, I never even played that, man.
What, GTA 5?
Great fucking works of video game writing.
I don't know. I mean, yeah, definitely GTA 5 is sick, but like, I don't know. Fuck. I don't know if I could get through it nowadays. I'm not in that mindset. I think it's got a bad
rep in the mind of people like me, or maybe even you, because of the way that it's been kind of prostituted. But that's not really anything to do with the game itself.
I mean, yeah, I bought GTA 5 day one on the PS3, and I loved the fucking story then. It's just over the time now that it's become the online game, and yeah, you're right, we kind of grow like a sour fucking taste for it, because shark cards and fucking the main, like, you know, the fucking single player is good.
Exactly, like Cyberpunk. If I imagine we came to it in a year, they are, by the way, planning. I heard.
Oh, definitely. They're putting out multiplayer. That's
why you're like, why is this fucking shit here? That's why it's
that's
here.
Why.
So truly, like, fucking boys, man, definitely drop that shit. You know. That sentiment is not just a feeling. That's true. Like, that's why it's there. It is a fucking... It's kind of, you know?
Yeah.
Raped its way in there. Like, I'm out on that shit. I don't like that shit. You know? At least, though, they didn't make it, like, janky so that it impeded your game. By the end, you're too powerful. You just ignore it. Fine. Imagine if it was, like,
specifically, like the gear and the XP and the loot and stuff. Yeah.
Imagine if it was, like, Assassin's Creed.
But I think that's what we've sort of learned after last year and the year before, right? Or I mean, I say we as like us and the industry. I mean, like everyone, right? Because you're kind of seeing what it seems like anyway, that progression. We've talked about this, but that progression has largely been unfuckered with for the most part.
Yeah.
And then usually they fuck around with it later, but in the Assassin's Creed corner anyway, but we fucking detoured a little bit there.
It's quite all right.
What other fucking games had like cool intoxication? I feel like we
think
talked
The Witcher
about
3 was another great one actually that I wanted to mention before we get into some more like possibly less relevant ones. The Witcher 3 is interesting because it's fucking hilarious. Firstly, like Witcher 3 features a scene where Geralt is fucking at Kaer Morhen there, you know, the fortress of the Witchers. You've probably seen it even in the cutscenes and shit if you never played the game.
Don't fucking remember.
It's like a castle, you know, it's
okay, yeah.
where the Witchers chill, like especially Geralt's school, the Wolf School of the Witchers.
Yeah.
The Wolf School. Yep. WFF. And he's there with Lambert and another guy called, I don't remember the other guy's fucking name, some mousy looking bastard with a bad hairline. Kind of like mine. And
nice.
And they're fucking there chilling and just getting wasted at the end of I feel like Letho might have been there in my game, but that might be too good to be true.
I don't know.
That might be my Witcher fantasy
characters, yeah.
Yeah, they're all sitting there, they're just talking about their shitty jobs, and by the end of the night they're just fucking blasted, you know? They're done. They don't know where the fuck they are. And they're like, yeah, let's go use this sorceress fucking megascope. And if you recall at the end of Witcher 2, fucking one of the sorceresses blinded themselves trying to use this.
Oh,
it's
no
very
way.
much like a fucking forbidden fucking technology. Yeah. Like you should not, it's taboo.
Don't fuck with it, yeah.
Stay with that, right? Like, and so Geralt and the other boys, they go up there and they fucking try to call Yennefer. They're like, oh, let's fucking call Yennefer on the megascope, fucking possibly blinding ourselves and causing a cataclysm in the world, you know? So they fucking, and then somebody's like, hey, you know what you should do? You should wear her dress while you do that. And Geralt's like, fucking yes, I should. At least my Geralt was. So what's going on here, you know? How does this relate to what we're fucking talking about? Yes, it's ridiculous and funny, but at the same time,
I can't believe this is like the first time I've actually heard about that,
yeah,
though.
it's good times. It's I had a good time watching.
Jeez.
I love fucking finding the, you know, anyways.
But is that like a side thing or a main quest? Like this?
It is a part, you need to do that to progress the game, but I think you just go to sleep and skip it all if you want to, for sure. You don't have to participate in it, but at any point you can choose.
Well, that's no fun.
Yeah, who the fuck, you know. So, Geralt fucking decides to just dip, fucking, if you ignore it, but like in mine, like, you know, you call Yennefer on this megascope, and she's like, what the fuck, Geralt? You're wearing my dress? Are you, what the, she's like, what the fuck, Geralt? And he's like, you know, shit's going down. She's like, go to fuck to bed. And then that's how the quest ends, you know? But I think it's interesting here because despite its fucking, you know, levity and the humor of the fucking quest, like what happens is that Geralt, because of his intoxication again,
right,
his social coordinates are obliterated. Not only does he fucking lose sense of his normal persona as like a tough fucking guy, he just kills a whole room full of men in a blink of an eye. Instead, he's just fucking wasted there in his girlfriend's dress. He's trying to fucking
thinking that would be a decent idea. Yeah, let's do it.
He's totally the guy that most of the time be like, Siri, don't touch that megaphone. If you fucking put your fingers on it, your eyes could pop out of your head.
Yeah.
Now he's like, oh, anyways,
I'm gonna do it and wear a dress.
Your subject coordinates dissolve. You lose sense of yourself, right? Like that's the point. You know, maybe you don't access a deeper reality always, but the material.
That's a funny example, though. That's sick. Yeah.
It is. Where the same kind of thing is fucking dealt with. Like people implicitly acknowledge that this is the effect, right? It's just of course, it doesn't always have to have a beneficial fucking endpoint, but it is pretty fucking funny. And the last one I actually would like to fucking mention is the fucking instance in Cyberpunk.
Are you gonna say Cyberpunk? Because I was just thinking of that and I was like, I can't believe this whole time we've been recording, I didn't fucking bring up Cyberpunk. I literally played it, like, I think it was last night or the night before. But the best part about it was I logged on and I was like, I'm just gonna noodle around in Cyberpunk. I'm gonna do some bender with Johnny. Yeah, well, no, that was the thing. I was like, I'm just gonna do some side quests or whatever, like I have pending, right? And then I see the one to meet with Rogue at Afterlife, and you go there and it gives you the option to take Johnny pills. So I took the Johnny pills.
Take a Johnny pill.
Yeah, and then you just fucking starts. He starts
give me a drink.
Smashing
give
drinks.
Give me another drink. Give me another drink.
Yeah. You end up leaving with the fucking one of the girls there and start fucking finger blasting her in the car, and then you get to an accident and almost die. She's like freaking out, and it's like, what the fuck? And then
now tell me what I need to know. That's how it ends.
Like,
what the fuck?
And then you wake up
like, somebody come pick me up.
Like the most ridiculous thing, right? So I like it after that because you wake up puking and V is like, dude, like what the fuck? This should be you right now. And he's just like, yeah, whatever. Like Johnny being Johnny, right? Basically, fuck you, yeah. And then after that, I don't know how this worked out, but I got a text or something from Meredith from the beginning of the game, and I knew you could romance her, so I responded, and she
actually
wanted
don't know who that is.
the blonde chick. Maybe you don't encounter her. I don't know how the fucking game works, but there's a blonde lady, Meredith Stout or something, and I had to meet up with her at the beginning of the game when you first get the. I think when you first. Or before you, maybe before you, before you do the heist. I don't know. Anyways,
the Militech woman.
Yes.
No, I definitely did kill her.
You did kill her? You fucking savage. I fucking banged her. This guy killed. So she wants to meet
at like
me
or something. That's
yeah.
She like, if you don't do what I want,
she was a huge bitch.
I was like,
she was a huge bitch to you, and I could see why you killed her, but I didn't, and I ended up.
My general policy was never to kill anybody, but if they threaten you, then just fucking brutal.
See, you told me about that, and then I adopted that afterwards, but she managed to go unscathed in my playthrough.
Fair enough.
Until I
didn't even know she was a romance option. I had no idea.
So I met her at the No-Tell Motel, and V fucking banged her. And then it was like an hour and a half or 2 hours after I booted up the game.
Threaten me.
And I was like, I came on to Cyberpunk, do side quests. All I did was get slammed, like get hammered, fucking get into a car accident, bang 2 chicks. I'm like, this is fucking hilarious. Like, how did this happen, right?
I only banged Pan Am, man. I was loyal to Pan Am. She was tight. She was cool.
Pan Am's sick. Definitely.
She is the kind of person that, even if she wasn't your girlfriend, I would just fucking
hang out with. Yeah, definitely. It's funny how like the game works because I did. Well, I guess does the one as Johnny? Hold on.
Don't you want to be a nomad though? Isn't that like so? Dude, I swear I've had a dream where I'm just like living in the desert with a bunch of dudes like you, like Ricky. You know, everybody lives in their fucking cars.
Yeah.
That's literally like
Ricky the nomads are like perfectly accentuate that. Yeah.
Oh no, Ricky is a nomad, bro.
Ricky is definitely a nomad. He's a nomad for sure.
He would have been the king of the nomads. Oh, they should have made Saul look like Ricky. That would have been the.
I mean, he looks kind of like Ray, maybe like a young version of Ray.
Like with Ray's haircut.
He's just further descendants down the line, right?
Sorry, what were you gonna say?
No, I was gonna say that technically, like, okay, I know it's a video game, but technically, considering the path I had gone, I'm at the point before the end, obviously, right? Because I did the ending, and then it brings you back, and so technically, like Pan Am and V are like a thing, right? But I just took Johnny pills and slammed, or not really slammed, there was a finger banging that chick in the car. Does that count? Because I was technically Johnny. And then it's like,
there's a time where I beat up with Meredith so he could go bang rogue. It's like, whatever. Yeah. It's just my body. You don't take it for the day. But then it's like lending him your car. But then you're like Johnny.
But then I did the Meredith one too, and I slammed her, and it's like, you know.
It's like you're
Pan Am's my homegirl though, for sure.
You're loading Johnny the hardware to go buy some groceries or something. It's just wash up when you're done, Johnny.
Oh man, it's a funny thing. Yeah.
Stank off.
It's a fucking fucked up thing. Shit.
The funny thing is, though, definitely there's a fucking instance in Cyberpunk 2077 where, just like the other games, there's a one-to-one equivalence where the guy takes something and some fucking other reality is in contact with. But the funny thing in Cyberpunk is that you got this fucking duality where the substance is your access to the other part of your own reality, really, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's most explicitly got this fucking... We could actually call this function of substances, if you want to get all fucking titular and poetic about it, we can call it the shamanical function, you know? A shaman is a guy who's like, he's got some totem and you look at his shit and it like, you see some shit through it. That's what's going on with the substance here, so. I like this fucking instance up at the best.
I guess that's the most fucked up in video games, dude. Kind of like getting fucked up in real life.
It kind of like it kind of really is. You know?
Without all the negative effects, you just watch them on screen.
It's more poetical. It's like those instances in the games inspire you to be better at getting fucked up in your own life.
Yes,
you know?
like, I can do this too.
I too can try harder to be like this.
I'm gonna get drunk this weekend and blame it on Cyberpunk.
Has a great fucking. You know, there's numerous scenes not only where you can sit down and, if you want, even deny your drink, but you can have them and fucking...
I noticed that. They give you the option to not drink. I mean, if you choose to do that, but...
Fuck, man.
What the fuck for?
It's one of those games where... By the way, this is the formal end of our fucking proper subject matter. I think that's all I gotta say about that.
Yeah, I think we're riding the coattails, some
more shit shooting on this fucking subject that... Fuck, buddy. Thinking back on that game, like, it's so alive in my head, you know? All of the places I was walking around, like, I actually have dreams about it. You know what I mean? Like when
It's very, like,
lately when I
visually-
go to sleep, like when I'm dreaming, it's like I see like stuff from Cyberpunk. You know,
It's very visually
all of the
stimulating, right?
images, like, are fucking deep in my head.
Yeah, I think about it a lot too, man. It's kind of like one of those things that like I'm seeing this presented like vision of what the future could look like, and it's like I want to actually see it. Like obviously through the games, it's cool depiction, but it's like part of me wants to like I want to see what this could look like in real life. I don't know if that really makes sense or applies, but like it's just so
like
intriguing.
The relationship V has with Johnny, like it makes you think about your own like relationship to things in the world in different ways, right? Like, it's almost that things that aren't fucking physical, concrete, like chunks of shit. They too have like in their very forms, which can inhabit your fucking mind, man. Like they have an inner life,
I mean, Johnny could just be that dude in my head telling me to like quit my job and run away or like jump off a
Johnny
bridge.
And the discourse and the guy in Disco Elysium, right? Like, both is a guy in Disco Elysium. It's not like another personality. It's the multiple fucking voices, quote unquote, like strains of meaning, really. Like,
I mean,
like
it's
steak, right? Like, what do you reduce that to? It's a strain, like a particle of stuff of meaning, right? Like,
it's the same thing except for the like literal component of Johnny being a chip with an actual imprint of and in fucking Disco Elysium it just being all the impulses and the the other like psycho
it's
fucking
funny, though, how the point in both cases is the same. Is consciousness really so clear cut?
Yeah, right. And what goes on behind the scenes of consciousness? Because I'm conscious in front of you right now, but you don't know what I'm
really
thinking
what
about.
goes on. Like what we can say conclusively is that all we can say is it's like a swarm. It's internally differential. Anything that we can say about it is restricted to the sphere of those most formal and universal things, right? Like everything else we get down into particulars and it becomes a disaster. That's what history is, right? I think that's the point of these games. Like that's what Harry's doing. Like he's a prophet of a fucking sort because his point is not to fucking save the world. His point is to announce what the truth is, right? The real is,
Yeah.
Behind it all, like that's really enlightenment. It looks like shit from your perspective, It's like when we fucking were talking about Sekiro over a year ago. I was reading this fucking story, fucking hopefully nobody remembers because those were fucking, man, I was even more drunk in those videos, but.
Oh, fuck.
This fucking story by a guy called Leon Bloy called something Monsieur Ploy, and fucking his character is some fucking totally disgusting dude who like everybody in the building that he rents to hates, but they're like, he goes to them one day and he's like, man, you fucking hate me because I remind you what you are and what you will be, especially one day, in the same sense, like Harry's a prophet, right? Like he's fucking, in that fucking dream at the beginning of the game where you go to sleep on the first night and you see yourself hanging from the tree and your fucking self is saying to yourself like, Harry, you failed, like yourself, not only your own identity, like you've destroyed your own identity, but you've destroyed Elysium. Like, it doesn't mean you've destroyed the world, it means you've destroyed that fucking picture of it as a complete thing that we've mastered and fucking made a place for ourselves in. It's always going to be Cthulhu, buddy, It's always going to be like a tentacled monster waiting for us on the outside, right? Like that's why Harry, like he's like fucking, man, that's what disco is. You're talking to this woman Joyce, like she's like this learned woman describing the pale to you, this learned bourgeois woman. You make a point to call her that. Actually, it's hilarious. It's funny. One of the options when she describes the pale, this fact that at the end of fucking known existence, reality like collapses into this undifferentiated state that we can't really describe as being in relation to ourselves. One of the options to say is like, fuck, that's a disco. And she's like, yes, it is.
Yes,
fucking
it is
disco. Like disco is that guy fucking snorting amphetamines and fucking dancing into the end of the world, in this game's vision of it, right?
Wow.
And fuck yeah, that's Intoxication in Disco Elysium. I think that flavor of it doesn't necessarily have to be so cynical, but the point is ultimately that chemically intervening, you strip away your false perceptions of reality and see the truth, right? See the fucking, like in the Bhagavad Gita there, fucking some Hindu scripture and shit where fucking Buddy, he sees God and it horrifies the shit out of him, or in the Book of Job or any other fucking great examples in literature or religion or anything else, right? Like the shamanical property of substances. Yeah, it's a great train of thought, and video games are great at showing it and letting you participate in it, And maybe one day we'll get back to how Red Dead fucking deals with this shit in its quest.
Yeah, maybe we'll replay it.
The end of that.
Yeah, that's the thing. I need to replay it because I don't remember what happens at the end.
Me too.
Probably because I was drunk while I played it.
Yeah, me too. Me too. Cheers to that.
Right? Fuck yeah.
Yeah. Disco.
What do you say we
What do you say we cut it off?
cut it loose?
We'll head over to the fucking chat on YouTube. If you are in the members only area on the site, click on the video, head over to the chat, and we'll shoot the shit with you, have a drink for the next little while. Thank you very much for tuning in, and have a great night. We love you guys.